Hello everyone, and welcome to my next video for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, where I'm going to be going back to the Space Dreams Part 14, Level 100 Lost Chapter quest, aka Cid's Lost Chapter, and I'm going to be completing it with a Cid carry, because I did not invest into Cid, unfortunately. And I'm going to be bringing along for this a team of Cloud, Lenna and Cid, with a Rinoa friend and Bahamut summon. So, yeah, I have very mixed feelings about Cid as a character, to be honest, in FF7. I think he's amazing. I think he's pretty awesome. I think he's very inspirational. The way how he's always chasing after his dreams. He's got a vision. He's got something that he's pursuing, and I think really that's something that could kind of speak to a lot of people. I know that a lot of people kind of struggle with lack of focus and direction in life. Hell if I know, I've felt the same thing a lot of times. So one thing I can really sort of respect and almost admire about Cid, I guess, is his single-minded pursuit towards the things that are most important to him. But the one aspect of his character that I really couldn't, I really did not like, was his treatment of Shera. I thought it was rather over the top, to be honest. It was rather excessive, and I remember when I was younger, I got quite upset over that, to be honest, because it was like Shera, he saved her, life, and in so doing he abandoned his dream, like his lifelong dream, the one thing that he's kind of poured all his energy into. He had to call all that off because of her, basically. But at the same time, she saved his life, because if he would have taken off into space, then that fuel tanker or whatever it was would have bloody exploded. So just the whole situation is horrible. You've got Shera with this kind of sense of resignation, and she just is completely consumed by guilt over the fact that she knows that she's destroyed Cid's dream, and then Cid treats her like shit because he's really frustrated about it, but at the same time, he still has some measure of kind of fondness towards her, but he really treats her very harshly. So and it's just kind of like, just the whole situation is just horrible, because like she knows why, so it doesn't excuse it, it doesn't make it acceptable behavior, but the whole situation is a mess. So I was really quite happy with it when they got some closure later on in the game, when you actually go into space, and I think you get the huge materia on board that rocket, and you kind of figure out actually the reason she was taking so long is because she needed to. And I never actually saw Advent Children, but I have heard that shortly prior to the events of Advent Children, they actually do get married. So I would like to think that they'd managed to put that unpleasant time in their lives behind them. I know in Opera Omnia, in the Lost Chapter, they all tease Cid about his feeling towards her. But anyway, yeah, in the actual game itself, in FF7, I didn't use Cid that much. I know he's pretty cool. Like, I like the fact that he's a dragoon, but my main party ended up being something like, I think it was Cloud, Tifa. I couldn't not use Tifa because, okay, and Tifa and Cloud, I ship it, kind of. I never really bought into the whole Aerith romance that they had going on, even though they had really good chemistry together. I guess I was just kind of too young to see it at the time, and I was kind of like, well, why wouldn't you go with a childhood friend? Obviously, my simplistic thinking at that time. Obviously, I know it's a hell of a lot more complex than that. And Cloud only really had a thing for Tifa when they were children, and in fact she was his whole reason for going into Soldier, but then they never really knew each other that well. And then there's the whole you throw a Crisis Core into the mix and it gets even more complex because you have Aerith and Zack, but then you also have the fact that Aerith was able to see through Cloud's Genova-induced identity theft, if you will, and she actually, she wanted to meet the real Cloud. And when you hear that in the game for the first time, you're like, what the fuck is she talking about? You never really understand what that means until you look back and you're like, damn, that's some level of foreshadowing. Anyway, I'm just going to start rambling at this point. I never used, my main party in FF7 was Cloud, Tifa, and Nanaki, aka Red 13. So, especially because Red 13 gets early access to the Seraph Comb, which is really friggin' powerful. And I actually hope, if and or when, I severely hope it's when, Red 13 gets brought into Opera Omnia, that his EX weapon is the Seraph Comb, because it passed down to him by Sito, wasn't it? So it would be really fitting, I think. So Sid in Opera Omnia, again, I kind of have similar feelings towards him here that I did in FF7. You know, he's good, he's strong, but he doesn't stand out. He's not that impressive. I also think he's locked to the wind element, if I remember correctly, on his skills. Yeah, see, wind, ranged attack, and hyper jump is wind. Yeah, so everything he does is wind. And I mean, like, I ain't gonna use fucking Fujin, alright, to imperil wind. So that being element locked is somewhat less than ideal, even though he does have pretty powerful, unique buffs. He doesn't really stand out. Big Brawl is cool though. I like his EX skill. But that alone isn't enough to earn him a spot on my team, unfortunately. So for this one, if I brought along Rinoa as well as Lenna, then I might possibly be able to finish it a little bit faster. But I want to bring Cloud because I've got his World of Illusions passive. Cloud is like my dispeller basically with Deadly Rush, and that's incidentally also another reason, excuse me, that I don't need Sid, because Cloud is basically my DPS dispeller. I think Sid dispels one buff with his 35 CP on hit. Well, Cloud does it all the time with everything, so, you know, he's a superior dispeller. And he's got all the launch shenanigans, you know, super strong at the moment. Lenna, because this will be a longer term battle, because of the fact that we are having to carry Sid, you know, like, my Sid's pretty garbage. He's only got one Lv.100. I don't have anything else for him. I don't really have that good armor for him either. In fact, I've not even maxed it out. I know I could take him to. I know I could max out his crystal level, or take him to C55 or something, and he'd contribute a lot more to this fight. But I do want to kind of leave him at 51 just for the carry, because I feel like that's what a lot of people will be doing. So yeah, I'm bringing Bahamut because of Rinoa. I also tried this with a Kistis friend, and that kind of works too. But I want to try it with this. I want to try it with Rinoa to see if we can finish the battle a little bit faster. So, without further ado, let's get into it and see what we can do. Oh, I forgot to show my artifacts again. I'll do it at the end if I remember. Sorry about that. If you want to see my artifacts, I'll either put them in the description or just like skip ahead to the end of the video. Alright, so I want to get Wind Drakes up as soon as we can. And at least one of the nice things about I'm going to use a cross slash here, I think. One of the nice things about doing a carry run is that you're not bound by the limitations of the score system. So if you want to take a little bit longer, that allows you to use HP attacks and things like that. Like, look, I use cross slash so we could get the HP plus on Cloud here. But if you want to use HP attacks, if you want to sort of take your time over it, then that is a completely viable option. You know, you are able to do that, and I really like that, to be honest. I think one of the unfortunate things about being bound by the limitations of scoring is that you're kind of obligated to play it a certain way in order to be optimal, and that involves a lot of launchers. It involves a lot of HP attacks. Basically, you have to be like as quick as possible in terms of taking out the enemies. And I mean, that's its own kind of challenge. It's fun too, but sometimes it feels like there's some portions of a character's kit that you're not really able to use because it's inefficient. I mean, just look at characters like, I don't know, Tidus, for example. Prior to his rework, he's really clunky because he takes so many turns to do anything. And the same thing with characters like Lightning, for example. Her EX weapon single-handedly saves her from being garbage, precisely because it's, you know, she eats too many turns to do nothing. But personally, I find fast characters very fun to play. They're just inefficient. So, you know, that really sucks. I'm going to use Finishing Touch here, just so I can get the buffs for Cloud. And I'm absolutely going to Brave Phoenix here. That'll battery everyone, so not everyone gets broken, which is what we want. I mean, it's what we don't want, you know, people getting broken, you know what I mean. Gotta admit, even if Meteor Rain doesn't have overflow, with Cloud's rework it's still pretty impressive in terms of Brave Shaving. trying to conserve my skills here. Okay, so we're now on the last wave. I'm gonna aim to summon as soon as possible so we can just do a lot of burst damage. So that means I am going to be using the rapid fire. Get these things' initial bravery down. Yeah, I'll cross slash plus here to get the paralysis off, which means that A is going to be the one that is going to be getting the buffs. Okay, that's fine. Because we don't have too much in the terms of attack buffs here. That may well have been a mistake to bring in Rinoa this early, but you know what? We can make do. We can make do. Yeah, okay, let's just summon here because A is going to get off the HP reduction buff before Cloud gets another turn, which we really don't want to happen. And this is exceptionally unfortunate. Well, at least I can use Brave Phoenix for some regens on the Rinoa. So it's not complete waste. But really, going for 2 launches here would have been preferable. I was a bit hasty in terms of summoning. Ah, excellent. And I can use cross/plus here to get paralysis on both of them, so we can continue to do maximum damage. I'll use Windrake Plus again just to battery Rinoa. Okay, we could use the finishing touches here, but I'm personally not going to, because I want to keep the finishing touch so that I have a way to be able to buff Cloud. Because his buffs, his self-generic buffs are dependent on finishing touch, so I want to kind of retain those for as long as possible. Right, so this is where Sid's going to come back in, and this is where things are going to get real. Or I should say this is where things are going to slow down. So there we go, they've got the generic buffs, and I've just realised I should have saved my Meteor Rain so I could have debuffed both of them. But never mind, you live and learn. There we go, that beautiful paralysis. At least we know that Cloud can attack them without fear of doing like low damage. So I'm gonna rapid fire again just to refresh the debuffs, the initial bravery debuffs, which should help keep things under control a bit. I'm absolutely going to Meteor in with Cloud because we get to dispel in AoE thanks to the World of Illusions passive. One good thing about debuffing the initial bravery is that they recover from break really easily, because the break bonus doesn't actually change that they get. So here, if I let B break A for Sid, then A is going to become unbroken, but I actually think I'm just going to go for the hyper jump here, because hyper jump still does decent brave damage, as you can see. I'm just going to use Brave Phoenix, so they're not going to break. They're not going to break Sid or Cloud, thanks to the battery. But you see, they do the brave damage and they recover from breaks super easily, so that lets you break them super easily. Which helps keep their turns under control. That's part of Lenna's utility that I see that not a lot of people kind of really notice. So I think Cloud will be okay here. So rather than attack B and get Cloud to get a turn, I'm just going to attack A. Brave attack, because that B is about to use, there we go, Magic. So that's okay. We can totally eat all that up, that's fine. So yeah, we can use the Meteor in, that's fine. Does that still have the HP damage reduction on? Yes, it does. So we'll attack A instead. Yep, I'm gonna do this. Because B will break Sid, and then A's turn will be next. I think we need to refresh the Windrake buffs. So I'm gonna do this here to battery for Cloud so he doesn't get broken. And take HP attack, that's actually fine. And I'm actually going to Brave Plus here, just to save on skills a little bit. Because this is the bit where I'm going to refresh Cloud's buffs with the finishing touch. So I can just use a HP attack here, that's fine. Yeah, they're both going to attack Sid. That's just the X. It's just a matter of playing cautiously and not getting broken like too much. So you see there, B is going to go for an all attack, so I'm absolutely going to paralyze it with Cloud, just so that we can finish off A. Which I will actually let Sid do that. I'm going to use Rapid Fire here to get the initial Bravery debuff. Well, I could have kind of left that until he was alone, but you know, whatever. There we go. So at this point we absolutely want to Brave Plus. We cannot afford to get broken here. There we go. Right in time for Cloud's next turn to do a finishing touch. And so this is basically game, set and match at this point. It's just a matter of cleanup. So with these carry runs, you just got to basically play a little bit more patient. If you get broken at an inopportune time, or if you let yourself get broken, that can really kind of screw you over. So it's just a matter of, you know, letting your HP regen do its job, not getting too excited, and just taking it one step at a time. So I kind of fucked up with my Rinoa summon in the beginning there, but it didn't really matter. We still got some good burst damage in. And there we go. And 281. I'm not even sure if that's enough for the score. It may be. I think it's either 250 or 300,000. But either way, we've done the Sid carry, and we've done it with flying colours, so absolutely not a problem. Hope that helps out some guys out there. I mean, to be honest, if you have Lenna, I think Lenna and either a Dispeller, like if you have Lenna and a Dispeller like Cloud, or alternatively if you have Lenna and someone like Sephiroth, and you just focus one at a time, and like just keep the other one broken, then you shouldn't have too much of a problem, even carrying a lame Cid. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. See ya!